Okay, so this is question number 5 on 11.1. Um, and we've got a proportion, we got two proportions. We want to see if they're actually significantly different. Okay, so we set up a hypothesis test whereby we assume that they're not significantly different, and then want to test whether the first one's significantly higher than the second one. Okay, and the way we do that is we're gonna in StatCrunch is the following. So it's just kind of like when you had a single proportion, right? A single sample. Here we have two samples. We still go to stat. It's a proportion stat, so we still go to proportion stats. This time, instead of going to one sample like we did in earlier chapters, we're going to two sample now. Okay, because we have two different proportions, two different samples. And we don't have the actual data. We have a summary, so we're gonna hit with summary. And then I think sample. Sorry. Whereas at sample 1, the successes were 126, and the observations were 244. And number of successes for the second were 141, and number of observations were 312. Okay, we're performing the hypothesis testing. You'll notice that the StatCrunch does the hypothesis test a little bit differently than they do it in the book. Here it's P minus P is equal to 0, which is that there's really no difference, right? If I subtract the 2, I get 0, which is really the same as saying that, P1 is equal to P2. Okay. And here, instead of saying, P1 is greater than P2, we're saying that P1 minus P2, the difference between those things would be greater than 0. That's the same as saying that P1 is greater than P2. Okay. So now we compute, right? We get the z-stat, which is 1.51 when we round to two different decimal places, and the p-value is 0.066 if we round to the third decimal place. Okay. So what do we have? The significance we chose for ourselves was 10%, and so this is well below that significance. So we're going to reject the null hypothesis because there's sufficient evidence to conclude that the two samples, have different proportions. Okay, so I hope that helps on this one. This is how to use StatCrunch with these two sample problems.